Hello everyone, here's Jerry, your favorite Polish Madlad, and today we are doing an episode for the shop, yeah! So in today's episode we will see how to make this little interface that will be updated based on your money that you have on you. And you can see that it's updated and you can buy everything that you want. And of course, if you buy something, you will have this weapon in your inventory and you will be able to use it. And if you buy a weapon that you already have, it will drop the current weapon that you have on you and it will give you the weapon that you want. Yeah, so this is pretty much it what we will see in this episode. Have a good episode. Let's start today's episode by making an interface. Yes, let's create a panel in which we're gonna use its elements to do something cool. So yeah, something like this. Let's make it more opaque, like so. And yeah, start by making some things inside. So let's create a shop and let's now create another panel. This panel will help us to handle item in our shop, like so. So our item, what it will have. So at first glance we will have an image. We'll have inside it a button, you know, and we will have a script that will be named UI shop item, like so. Let's create it and let's leave it like this. Then inside this item, what we will have, we'll have the title of our item, title, like this. Next we'll have another text which will be the cost of the item, and at last we'll have another image that will now be our icon, like so. Okay, very good. So let's start simply here by creating the wall environment of the shop, and I will see you again in a minute. So now we have our weapons setted here. Let's add simply the energy one. So for the energy we will need a text that will handle the energy count, and we will need a background, so we'll need an energy count background. And of course we will need another item which will be the energy itself in here. Energy, sorry, like so. That will help us handle the overall. So let's in here change that and make it opaque, like so. Let's put the background above everything, and now we know this one and this one. Let's put this in blue. Let's position the background at the correct coordinates. So -50 s -15, and like so, and like so. Okay, so this is our thing, and font size will be like so. So this is our energy. You can see it. Let's copy this component and let's paste it in here. Passed, like so. And in here the background will need it too. 6 of them, and font size 200. So when we will change here the text, you can see that it will change the number of little stars that will be shown in here. And in order to be sure that the icon is the same as the other, let's make this happen by just simply putting the text in here and changing its size, like so, and simply putting this one like this. Put it this in white, like so. Let's move it here. Nice, and changes to energy, like so. And here the cost will be changed to based on the amount of everything that we have currently on us. So now we finished our interface. What we need to do is first so now we've done our interface. What we need to do, we're gonna do a little new script that will attach to our shop panel, and this script will help us simply to create every interaction that we need with the shop items. So in here, what we will need at first is the following variables with the following libraries. .ui, yeah, thank you, nice. So here you can see that we have a variable list shop item. This is a structure that we will create in this class at the end, outside of it actually, where we're gonna have the reference of the button, of the weapon ID, and the cost of the weapon. We will fill it out when we have finished with this class. So first, what we need is a simple start function in which we gonna assign every price for every item, because we want this to be dynamic if we need to change it somewhere. Of course, you can assign and do a little singleton class that will have every weapon, and then you can pick it from. but I did it this way, and this how I will leave it. So here we need two functions, so one for buying the weapon and the other one for buying energy, of course, because we want to have the choice to buy to do both. Then we will need a getter and a setter inside, so in order to get the different variables that we need later. And now at the end we will need this little function that will be the update view, that will be used in the future when we want to update the interface with the player callback. You will see everything in time. So now let's go to the UI shop item. So this little script will have only 3 variables in here, and we'll use the following library. And inside we will have two functions, one for initiating the price, so very basic, and the other for the interactability of the button. And by interactability I mean not only the button, but changing the color of the title, the cost, and of course the icon. So pretty simple. Okay, so now let's fill out our different shop items. But before that, I need to comment something in here in order to make the code compile. So, okay, you can see that we just need simply here to assign the title, the cost, and the icon each time. Okay, so now we've assigned everything. What we need to do is simply to assign the energy button to the energy button, the energy count to the energy count, and to create the list of items that we will have inside. So 9 of them actually, and inside here we're gonna simply make sure that everything is added to its own place. So for example, let's start with the Glock silencer here. Let's select the Glock silencer and let's select its price, like so. And let's do it for everyone. Okay, so now we have every item assigned in our shop. Now we can proceed to create more code. So first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna head to the player, and inside the player controller, we're gonna start by making some new things. So what are the new things that we're gonna do in the player controller? So inside the player controller in here, we want first to assign actually the local player to the game controller. And we're gonna do that by simply creating a variable inside the game controller and the getter and setter corresponding to it. Pretty basic, don't you think? Yeah. Now what we're gonna need is pretty basic too. we're gonna need two new things in our game, in our player controller. Now in the pull keys in the update, now we're gonna need some more code. And what I mean by this, we're gonna need simply to know when we are in the menu of the weapon shop. And in order to do that, we're gonna need a variable that we're gonna change based on the if we are or not in this menu. So we're gonna need this little is in menu variable in here, like so. And inside we're gonna need the reset keys, because we don't want to make our player walk forward if we are in the menu and we have blocked the pull keys. So this means that we need a thing that will reset the keys, and it's written as follow here. So now what we need is to go to our GUI controller and add some new functions, because now we need new things inside. So first thing first, we're gonna simply add the following thing: the shop and the shop getter function. And for this, we're gonna add two new function at the end, which gonna be show shop and update shop. And in order to make sure that the shop is disappearing when we die, because maybe we were in the shop when the game started or anything, we're gonna simply say that we are in the if we are in the shop, the shop disappears when we want to hide it, if it's shown. And this is pretty much it, I think, for this part. So now let's come back to the player UI shop and let's finish the job. So what we want here, you can see that we have two functions. One function to buy a weapon, and the other one to buy energy. And what we're gonna do really here, it's pretty simple. We're gonna use our little player callback in order to send events. And there will be two new events in our ball assets. There will be an event for sending energy, sending the request to buy energy, so buy energy event, that will be only used by the controller, can only be sent by the controller to the owner, and the other one to buy weapons. So buy weapon event, sorry, like this, only controller. And inside we want a index that will be an integer, like this. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's compile both assets in order to have the functions in our code. And now let's head to the player callback and add these functions. So what do we need inside? We want a function to send this. So in reality, we want 4 new functions. One to send, one to receive. So here, pretty basic. We will send simply the index and we will receive the index. And of course here, what we're gonna do is pretty simple. We're gonna get the GUI controller, we're gonna check the item cost, and we're gonna subtract the item cost from the money, and then it will work finally. And of course here we're gonna do an add weapon event, in which we're gonna simply change the ID of the weapon. And as you can see, the weapon will have an update with the add weapon. But here in our player weapon, we are not prepared to buy a weapon, because simply if we already have a weapon on this slot, we need to first drop it, and now next we will add it. So in order to do that, we will need to do a new function that will be named drop on buy, and this function will simply drop the item without changing the state ID of the player. And of course, in order to add this to our already existing function of add weapon, we'll simply do something like this, where we check if the secondary is already is not a none, so this means that it exists. We will simply drop the item. Same for the primary, like this. To our player callback, and let's add some new things inside. So first things first, we have everything done for the buy weapon. The buy energy is simpler, because we only gonna change the state of the money based on the cost of the energy, and of course we're gonna add an energy to our player. So yeah, pretty simple. Now what we need in addition is to update the interface of our little shop if we buy something. So here we're gonna do a current.update shop each time we update the money or the energy. Let's go find the energy inside in here. Simple as that. And yeah, this is pretty much it. Now we have everything good on our player and etc. On our player callback, we update everything nicely. Of course, we can add more money. I will say that maybe at the end of the round, let's add much more money when we start, only to test if everything works. So let's add 6,000, and before everything, let's just assign everything in our scene. So now we have our shop. We are very happy with that. We have items and etc. But we need to assign the shop to the GUI controller, of course, and we need to simply here assign to the on click the corresponding function. So let me just drop it like this, and UI by weapon. And here we will only be based on the weapon index. So they are the weapon index. So this index here that we indicate in the weapon by, it's the index of our list inside here. So this means that this will give the ID of the Glock silencer that is not the same that is here. Okay, so I'm really sure that you understand what I wanted to say here. Okay, so let's do the same for the by energy, like this. And I'm pretty happy with that. Don't you are? Yeah. So here let's just make sure that yeah, everything's good. Okay, so let's start by testing all of this. Huh? Yeah. So now, as soon as we are in the game, we can now go to the shop and you can buy anything that you want. For example, the RPG that we did last episode, and you can see that you can use it as followed. And you can buy other things like energy, and you can see that the cost is changed based on the amount of money that you have, and of course the interface is updated based on that, etc, etc. and it's pretty much it. So this episode we've seen how to do a shop. This is one of the lastest episodes because now I consider that the prototype of our game of Bolt Laurent, so adaptation of CSGO and Bolt of Valorant, is finished. We already seen everything that we needed to see on networking and etc. And the lastest episode of this series, or the two last episodes that we will do, will be about simply making the game run on the PlayFab API in order to make sure that the server is no more on our PCs but on someone else PC, and this way we can do dedicated servers which will run better. So thank you very much for watching this series. We will continue to make videos on YouTube. Check our social media, check our channel. We'll make some tutorials about the basics of Bolt for more in-depth view on it. And yeah, have a nice day. Remember to code every day, and see you next time. Vandola, what's that? It's a game in development by Sandstorm Game Studio, a young indie game studio which want to start their journey with an online fast FPS game. Vandola will be fast-paced and easy to learn how to master game. In this game, your equipment will be based on 4 weapons or skills, chosen freely. We call them abilities. They compose your loadout. From rocket launchers to grapplings, including toy guns filled with holy water, your choice is vast. Choices you will make will influence drastically your playstyle. In fact, our game balance is based on an ancient game that is 1000 years old, the famous rock, paper, scissors. Basically, when you are fighting, there will be situations in which you will have facilities to kill some loadout, but your opponents plays the same game as you and they could have bonus damage against you as well. Right now you have 40 different abilities in order to create chaos in your game. Among these 90,000 combinations, I'm sure you will find the one you like. You will be also equipped with a gravity gun, which will allow you to move around the entire map without any difficulty. Your choice of loadout will also change the behavior of your gravity gun. So now, if you want to be the horse and the horseman, you can. But if you prefer to be Neo from Matrix, with a jetpack it's possible. To have fun with all these features, nothing could be simpler than a huge city in which zones will be designated to organize a zone capture game and at the same time a team deathmatch. Go ahead and vandalize this city, after all you are participating to Vandalhalla, the Vandal's Paradise! If you want to help us and see the project evolve and get released, follow us on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter.